Hello, innovators. I'm Dustin Miller, PolyInnovator. Today I'm talking with Alisa Czar, the founder of Board Eyed Media, and overall super interesting person. Thank you for joining me on the Polymath PolyCast, a show by PolyInnovator. Please say hello to the innovators in the audience.
Hello.
Quiet. And then so basically
that was a ghost.
That was a ghost. That's kind of like your social media is this ghost. But share some. So the way I like to break the ice is to share something about yourself that no one knows about you.
Well, that's I don't really know, but probably one of my party tricks that not a lot of people know. I can move my right eye, ear? I almost said right ear on command, but now I can't because I'm smiling too much. Yeah. But just trust me on that.
Okay.
Only the right one for some reason. I don't know why.
My dad was able to do both. It was interesting. Just like wiggling them a little bit.
Usually people can do only both. Like what's his name? Rowan Atkinson? Mr. Bean?
Yeah. He can do both. Yeah. So are you right-handed by chance?
I don't know. I think I was left-handed, but then my mom said, you're going to have a tough life, so yeah. Right-handed now.
So I wonder if your dominant side has to do with that. That's interesting.
I don't know which is my dominant side. Like in actuality, I'm pretty, I can write with both hands pretty well, but I've learned to write with my right hand, and the left hand just figure it out.
I love the idea of ambidextry. It's actually really interesting that's brought up there, because it's just one of those things that if you can do that, it shows that you have cohesion in your brain. And so that's a very fascinating concept.
Yeah, that's what they say, right? Because you have two different hemispheres, and it's this. You can check which one you're using right now. I'm not sure about this theory, but I've tried it before, and it kind of makes sense. But you can breathe through your nose and check which nostril is working at the moment.
Yeah.
So mine is this one. So now it's
Same.
My left hemisphere.
That's interesting. More logic brain there. And so diving into some of the questions here, we both love learning. So what drives your burning passion for learning, as you say?
I don't know. I guess competitiveness. I have this weird thing. I feel like if I can absorb more information, I can do better things. And it's not necessarily true that I've just discovered this year that there was a really cool thing from James Clear, if I'm not mistaken. And he said there's a difference between absorbing information and acting on it. And that's something that I'm really learning right now, instead of absorbing everything and then picking one, but testing more. Yeah. And for example, that's why I like Facebook ads, because you can really test a lot.
Get those Facebook dark posts, as they used to be known as. And it's interesting too, because that whole mindset of being experimental and trying out new things is very helpful for growth.
Yeah, it is. I actually took it from my friend, because he once said he is a really crazy man. And he once told me that his philosophy on life is to be a what if man. So whenever he approaches a situation he doesn't know how to handle, he just says, what if that happened, and he just does it. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. It's interesting how you and I are pretty aligned in that, because there's Nietzsche has a concept of the Uberman, or whatever his name, the actual term is, I think it's Uberman, where it's the perfect person, so to speak. And I think that's really fascinating. If you could strive for that perfection, you might land, like they say, shoot for the moon, land amongst the stars. So if you could strive for that perfection, along the way, you're going to grow enough to where you surpass the competition, in your view.
It's interesting. This is the typical type A personality talk. And I've just watched an episode on impact theory about that. Yeah. And I don't remember who was talking, because I didn't finish it. But there was a guy talking about how A-type personalities, they're chasing this carrot of fulfillment. But actually what they're chasing are results and results and results. And it's the whole disease of chasing the more, and they're never satisfied. So I don't know. I think you can land between the stars without shooting for the moon.
That's interesting.
To wrap it up.
Yeah, nice, concise. Oh, I'm going to extend it a little bit, because I worked for someone who is type A, and super fascinating person, and the things we were trying to do is super interesting as well. But the problem was they weren't able to communicate very well, and because of that, they failed because the team underneath them wasn't able to keep up because of the communication. So where do you see type?
I know. I'm pretty sure what kind of problem of communication they've had. They assumed that everybody had the same ideas and knowledge in their head as them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a sinner in that all the time.
I wonder if I'm type A or just a matter of just I'm really passionate about it. So I'm curious about your opinion. You consider yourself type A, it seems. Why do you say that?
Yeah, because I've been told by people when they scoffed at me and they were like, "Oh, type A, go away."
So what have you been driving towards then? Like if you're trying to get results after results with results, then what are the results you're looking for?
Well, depends on the subject, right? Well,
Okay.
I definitely always like there's a book that I'm reading right now. Again, like overconsumption of information. So I'm gonna be saying there's an article, there's a video, there's a book.
Perfect. That's perfect for the show. That's awesome.
There's a book called Thinking in Systems, and that's how I discovered there was like there's different ways of thinking, and there's systematic thinking that they're promoting, so or advising, depending on what kind of like opinion you have about it. But there was another one that they mentioned that I really want to dive into after I finish this book, and it's called lateral thinking, and it's basically thinking of, I would say, unordinary thinking, jumping around things, finding loopholes. Like there was the typical example they give you, like tic-tac-toe, right? And you have like two knots, and instead of being like, oh, I lost it, you just draw one out of the little cage or a table, whatever you call it, and then you're like, winner. So you kind of like go for shortcuts that nobody could think of or see. And you're like, because when they give you this, like, or another example is this maze, and instead of going through the maze from point A to point B, they just go around it. Why? So it's basically thinking that is not constrained by social norms or the perceived rules of the game. So that is something I'm really interested in. I don't remember your question though.
I think you answered just fine. And I care more about this tangent than I do the question. And it's interesting because what you mentioned there seems like the third door concept. I was talking with someone named Ali Abdal, and the third door is kind of like when you see point A and point B, people are in a decision like, hey, these are my two choices. Which one do I choose? Well, when you look at the third door, you're the kind of person who sees the opportunity that other people don't, and you go through the window instead, and that kind of thing. And so it's interesting. I was actually watching Sherlock Holmes, where they literally the enemy.
Which one?
The British one.
The BBC one, Sherlock.
Sherlock. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I watched all of them, so it's just one of those things that's confusing.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, exactly. Well, essentially, the cat burglar or whoever was doing the bad guy was going through the window and finding ways to climb up the building to get inside. It's one of the earlier episodes, and essentially he found that third door instead of trying to like the front door, the back door, completely locked from the inside, and he found a third way in. It's interesting.
No, it's like this little hacks that you do in real life, like that nobody can really think of because they're like, oh, but this is so like logical. Like just today I've been to the mall and there was a huge queue in the women's section. So obviously I went to men's. There was nobody at the like cashier desk.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks about it. They think like they're buying women's clothes. They have to stay at the women's like cashier desk. Like it's just so crazy. Or whenever the door is closed and everybody's thinking like, oh, like you can't go through. No, how about you just touch the handle and see if it's open?
Or for example, I was going to a store the other day, and instead of going to the front door, which had a long line, I just went to the cart door, like the shopping cart, the trolleys.
Yeah,
and it was
exactly.
And then another one was like the cashiers. You have the regular cashiers, you have the self-scanning cashiers, and then both of those were completely swamped with people. The queues were super long. I was like, okay, I'm not going there. But there is a bar and there's also a Starbucks, both of which have cash registers that you can go buy your products with. So going over there instead of going to the cashiers.
Exactly.
Love it.
Exactly.
So what are some things?
You see?
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty crazy. Like you just have, and the more you practice this lateral thinking, the more creative. Like that's something I want, I don't want like crazy results for the sake of crazy results. I want something that is a little bit evil, a little bit insane, a little bit crazy,
Just a wee bit mad.
So just a wee bit like out of the matrix, so to speak.
So back to the point that you were mentioning, like the author, James Clear of Atomic Habits there. What are some of the other things you are learning recently?
Wow. Okay. Let me see. Well, I'm trying to start learning drums, but like there's always something happening and I cannot, but I was picking up ukulele handstands, and I was mastering I was improving my my kind of streak of minutes standing in the cold shower and finding the cool ways to like not feel bored, because I think like the problem of standing under cold water is not the actual like cold water, but it's more of like you just get bored.
Yeah.
And then you're standing there and the only focus you have is on cold water. I mean, by the way, just research the habit. The benefits are amazing.
Yeah.
Like, ridiculous.
Skin, hair,
everything. Yeah. Hormonal system reset, like just everything.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. Have you done the Wim Hof method?
Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting how like that can make a big difference on your resistance to the cold. Also too, just a hot and cold treatment. So I work in a pool, so like a swim instructor and water fitness instructor. And a lot of my people always complain about the temperature. And it's like, if you just took a cold shower once a week, you would no longer complain about temperature. I tell you that much. But point being, they're like, oh, the water's so cold. And this is in Fahrenheit, so I hope this translates well, but it's like 86 degrees. And that's plenty warm enough for people to feel comfortable with. The hot tub is like 100 degrees. 86 degrees is 30 Celsius. And then like the hot tub.
30 Celsius, and that's cold.
Yeah, they're complaining that it's cold. And then the hot tub is 38 Celsius, 38.3.
Who are those people?
They're older. Like they're more sensitive to it, I feel like. But like the point being is that like I tell them, you should, if you're going to go to the hot tub, which they most of the time always do, at least before COVID, of course. They went to the hot tub. And then they go straight to the locker room, which is down to, 77 degrees. So 25 degrees Celsius. So it's like a 30-degree jump in Fahrenheit, 5-degree jump in Celsius. And it's a pretty stark difference there for them. So you go from a hot tub to the cold air in the locker rooms. And I'm telling them like, hey, don't do that. Go into the pool, cool off, get that cold water treatment. It's good for you anyways. And then you've already transitioned yourself to the cold air and you'll feel much better quicker. So yeah.
How cold is the air in the locker rooms?
25 Celsius. 25 Celsius.
Yeah, it's not bad. Come on.
Not bad. But I mean, when you're wet, it makes a difference. Yeah. Okay, back to the questions then. So what are some of your challenges that you face to your self-education?
That's a good question. I guess in nowadays, like in this day and age, I think probably finding the quality information, because you can find a lot of information, but will it be quality? That's the question. And spending hours reading something or listening to something and basically wasting your time, that's the problem, because there's so much information at just your fingertips. So I guess it's that, like finding something of quality, and I guess quality to yourself as well, because I read a lot and I already know a lot of like basic things that people like to reiterate in their books. So most of the times I read something and I'm like, okay, well, I found a new cool word, like vocabulary, man, but that's it.
Well, and that's interesting, because like you and I are quite similar. We wouldn't have a wide ranging of knowledge, and even just having cocktail knowledge, like if you go to a cocktail party and have a conversation about a topic, that's always really fun, and you get that from a book usually. And they say that like once you read 200 business books, you've basically read all the information that you can learn from all the rest of them too. And so it's
depending on which ones.
Depending on which ones, like the top 200 basically.
Okay, maybe.
Okay. Well, it's like Pareto's principle, 80-20 rule. And so when you read the top 20% of all the books of that subject, you're going to get 80% of the knowledge of that area. And by that point, the knowledge is going to diminish versus how much time you're spending on reading those books. To get that last 20%, you're going to have to read a ton of books. And so it's like, it's not really worth it.
Or just find a mentor.
Or find a mentor. But I was just talking about reading in particular. What are your thoughts on mentorship then?
Oh, love it. Okay. I think that's the best way to get that 20%, honestly, because reading the rest of the books is just not feasible. And that's something that I experienced myself, and I guess I led to experience others. But that mentorship is just such a jump, you know? Like, for example, the way I started life coaching, it was just a completely serendipitous event when I got scouted to work with one of the top like seduction firms in the world, just by complete accident. And just seeing how they work, it gave me so much more knowledge than any book, any course, any video on YouTube, anything in the world, because they get And by saying huge, I mean it. Huge sums for their workshops. Huge. And by seeing these professionals work just in front of you, it was just
mind-blowing.
Yeah, like a rocket launch. Yeah.
So I'm a swim coach, you're a life coach, and even you said you taught English before too. What are your ways of teaching?
Well, that's a good question. It all depends on each person and what each person is seeking. My main concern as like for myself, I guess, and for the other person is to be on the same page, in the sense of that if they come to me, they want to learn something that I can teach them, right? So it's not that like, for example, the same English teaching, if they come for me, like to me, and they say, I want to, learn Chinese.
You can't really help you.
Can't help you. Sorry. Like I want to have a better pronunciation in French. I'm like, my pronunciation is sucky. Can't help you, So it's the same thing. Like if I can teach you something, you're aware of it, and you already have that like base, like that foundation that can actually jump straight to that 20%. I think that's the best, because you really don't need a teacher. Maybe you need a teacher for the basics, like to clarify your path, to give you the strategy to learn. But mostly I think you need a teacher when you want to perfect something and practice it. And then you're like, you can kind of navigate their hand into like, oh, this is how you do it a little bit. Like just put it like here,
Yeah, and like most students are at different places anyway, so you have to figure out what that person is. Like when I teach a swim lesson for the first time, the first day is all about evaluating. I just need to know what you know, and like you said, being on the same page is interesting.
And then creating strategy, most importantly.
And
so they have clarity how to move, because if not, like they're like, I don't know what we're doing now. Like,
right. That's like the most frustrating part though. It's like everybody needs a different strategy, it seems like. And some strategies may work for someone else. Frustrating. Yeah. I mean, I say frustrating, but it's exciting. Both. Yeah. It's like
otherwise it would be boring if it would be the same strategy for everybody else. It would be like, oh,
how about that? Challenging.
Get that like copy paste paper PDF go.
Yeah, it's good.
Is it? No, but tell me. I'm curious.
Okay. Well, essentially, like if, for example, if someone doesn't want to listen, then it's a new kind of way of teaching. Like I can't teach you the same way as someone else if they're not receptive to it. And then but they want to learn, they're just not receptive to listening. Like I usually teach a lot of kids too, for example. So like they want to learn how to be better, especially to compete with their friends. But if they're not receptive in that moment or in that particular lesson that day, because they're having a bad nap or bad day, same with adults too. Sometimes adults don't listen. And then like there's a whole idea of like ageism too. So if I'm 25 and the person I'm teaching 70, then it's going to be a big difference there. Like it'd be like, hey, what do you know more than me? Because you're younger, which doesn't happen very often. But that causes you to have to make a new strategy and change your terminology to appeal to that older demographic.
So what do you do when people don't listen? I'm curious.
Usually just
tell me your secrets.
I get a little tough love. So like, okay, if you don't listen, then swim. Like if you don't want to listen to the nuances of how to swim, then you're just going to
start drowning.
Well, usually most of the time people know how to do like a doggy paddle or basic movements. Yeah. And once you get them to do that enough, they're like, this sucks. I want to learn how to do it better. And so they get motivated to do it better. And that's a swimming context. Or like if you're teaching someone language, they don't want to listen, then you make them write down the same sentence over and over again. It's a way of just trying to get them like, okay, this is not the most effective way. They realize it. Teaching them to realize it themselves, why we're doing it this way. And that way you're on the same page.
Yeah. You see, that's what I said. That's what I meant when I said, if I want to be on the same page with the person, like I never, ever, ever take clients, be it for my agency, be it for me as a coach, be it like in the past for English classes that don't like really like want me to do something for them. If they're not crazily excited and they're not sitting and drooling at every single word I say, I don't want it. And that's like a hell yes mentality, I'm going to be 1000% with you, be 1000% with me. Yeah. Less doesn't work.
Well, and I think that has the difference between two, like life coaching and swim coaching. Swim coaching is more of just a practical skill, whereas life coaching is much more like beyond that. You have a lot more holistic view, so to speak. You have a lot more to it. You have to be more into it, I feel like.
Well, speaking English is also a practical skill. I'm just saying that maybe you gotta find some trick to like really get their attention and like make sure like get this authority kind of.
Yeah.
So they like, oh God, who's that man? Jeez, okay, I gotta listen what he says. I don't know. Maybe like humor goes a long way in a lot of industries.
I make my kids and my people laugh pretty well. It's just I don't think I explained my pedagogy too well whenever I was describing that. But moving on to something else you have here, you have this hashtag I am the gardener. What does that mean to you?
Well, I always refer to myself as the gardener. Okay. I actually have a terrible like green thumb. Terrible. Even cactuses die with me. It's a skill. It's a skill.
Yes, it's a skill.
Whenever the subject arises about businesses or people, like anything related to psychology, behavior, anything really. Like I love people and I love businesses. I really meticulously I'm obsessed with growing it. Like it's something that I like keeps me awake at night. I can spend hours doing things that relate to it. I like, I'm so crazy. I coach my friends, and whenever they tell me a problem, they're like, give me a short sentence answer. I don't want to lecture.
Exactly.
And I'm like, okay, but listen.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's my point from earlier.
Yeah.
Like don't want to quite listen so much. I think that you'll resonate with this. I've been referred to as like, when I speak and teach, get didactic, I'm like a stock reel of information. And so it's like a stock reel of information, like on a news channel, the stock reel just goes like that. Yeah. I feel like that you and I would both be like that when we're trying to teach something or help somebody.
Maybe. Also, I think it's from my side, it's mostly about like, I guess, giving the holistic answer, because I'm all about holistic everything, like literally like health, body, business, everything. And a lot of people want something granular, They have a problem with their boyfriends. They don't want to hear about their unhealthy boundaries that they created in themselves. They don't want to hear that. They just want to hear a perfect text to text him back and create more drama. That, so.
That's my point. I think that we both try to give the holistic answer, which is the right answer, but people want the easy way. So how can we be the gardeners of our own life then?
Ooh, okay, that's a good one. Well, I guess curiosity is part of that. Because the more curious you are, the more you find ways to climb, like that. I don't know, how do you call it? Like a poisonous ivy, but that's not it, right? Like, those things that climb the buildings, like the vines, right? So you can be more like a vine and climb this building. The more you have little points to like kind of, grip onto. Yeah. But it's mostly, I think it's people. It's the best way to be gardening, to do gardening. Gardening is in my case, like not actual gardening, but gardening for businesses and people is, I think it's a team sport. It's a team activity, because the more you can talk to people, the more cool, clever, out of your mind ideas you can get. And that's something that really strikes me. Sometimes I talk to people that, mostly I love talking to engineers. That's something that because I am the complete opposite. And sometimes I hear something that they say that completely like changes my whole paradigm, because they see the world in such a weird way that I don't understand, but I really want to. But like, I guess somewhere in the middle, there's geniusosity, if that's a word.
It is now.
Genius. Claimed. But
I'm gonna put it in the title.
Geniusosity.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. I love that, and I guess growing anything is talking to people who are very different from you, because then you can not only listen to their opinions, but also listen to yourself and how you resonate with those opinions, and you can learn a lot about yourself from there. The same way about businesses. If your business reacts to something that, like a weird agent that you introduce in a way that you don't want it to, there is an internal problem. You better fix it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's like networking as well. So like, the more you can network with interesting people, the people you surround yourself with, the better you become by proxy. And that's one reason why I love doing these interviews, because I had a good feeling about you from the beginning. I was like, this person's going to be super interesting and super like intelligent to talk to and learn from. So going back to the questions, you seem to know a lot about a lot of different things. perfect for the show, obviously. Where did you get that curiosity or geniusosity in this case from?
Well, I had an opinion before that curiosity can be harvested. It's something you're born with. But there was like a very smart man that like quite recently has told me that it's not the case, probably. That some people's curiosity gets stifled when they're growing up. And I still don't know. But I guess I'm getting my curiosity. I thought it was innate. I guess I wasn't stifled.
Yeah. I mean, well, and I think it has to do with the country you're born in, the people you're surrounded with. The U.S. education system is terrible for it. It does not induce curiosity. And I was always a nonconformist. So when I grew up, I was like, screw you guys. I want to learn about this thing. Like my best learning experience in high school is when I went to the philosophy and world religion section of the library and burned through that in a matter of months. Voraciously read all of those books. And so like, what?
Don't you study philosophy at school?
What do you mean? In school?
Yes.
Sometimes. I mean, I did take a class. It was like classical ideas on world religions, but that was like an elective that I had to choose to take. And they teach us some philosophy in like English class, but not nearly enough. Or like history.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
in
ridiculous.
Europe, it's like a mandatory like subject. Philosophy, you have to study.
That should be. Like as it should.
I guess.
It depends on your mind thinking. Some people like the science, some people like the philosophies. I like to find the balance between the two.
I think that there's like a lot of we're studying basically like the bestsellers, you know, the classics from the history. I think there's a lot of really cool philosophers that aren't included in the typical like classical philosophy education. Like at least I do really enjoy Nietzsche, but hey, why don't we include, for example, Jordan Peterson? Hello.
Or Gary Vee. I think Gary Vee is like a modern philosopher. A lot of people don't like his abrasiveness, but he talks about gratitude and mindset and understanding self-awareness and the things he talks about and the way he does. I feel like people can learn from. So another modern person, like you're saying, like Jordan.
Yeah, but I think like I think he's talking about things that are very well known and widely practiced. So it's not something like, wow, you're completely blowing my mind. But I think something that is Jordan Peterson has, he's quite hard to swallow for a lot of people, which makes him a great philosopher, meaning that his opinions aren't popular. And he bases a lot of his opinions on a lot of psychological and philosophical books. So yeah, I think that's interesting because he has formed an opinion on top of that all, which probably Gary Vee didn't, you know, and he has a very hard to swallow opinion for a lot of people. So that makes him another philosopher. But you know, that's my point to be argued.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because I've had mixed feelings about Jordan at multiple points because I think there's certain points where he gets a little too crude for the society, but there's also other points where he is right. And so I've watched interviews with him and I felt so conflicted about it. So I get what you're saying. Like there's like I don't always agree with everything he says, and I think that's the point you're making there.
Yeah, I think that's what happens with any philosopher. You can't agree with everything they say, otherwise it's going to be weird. What are you drinking? I'm really curious.
It's a mixture.
Is it Kool-Aid?
No. I might be American, but I'm not
the
that
Kool-Aid. Yeah.
I'm offended you even asked. So
hey, I don't know.
So your bio says that you're a biohacker, which is a pretty generalized concept as it can mean a lot of things. So what areas do you focus on?
A lot. A lot of different areas. I don't know. I'm just trying to do everything that I can humanly possibly do. You know, from optimizing sleep, like optimizing basically any area of my life that kind of relates to my mind, body, and soul, which I guess is still biohacking. Like I was raw vegan for almost 10 years. Not anymore. I'm like vegan with occasional
chicken, something like that.
Oh no.
Just fish.
I'm more like raw vegan with occasional cooked food, but
the
label is vegan, I guess. So yeah, that was really interesting because what I experienced, first of all, I got really cold in winter.
Yeah, the iron levels and whatnot.
Very. It's like you have no heating system at all because I didn't eat any nuts in that period either. So I basically eat like fruits and veggies.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really heat you, at least in my body.
I think as in general, it's a matter of the metabolism doesn't get induced very much. Like when you eat that easily processed food, the metabolism doesn't have to work as much, and so you're generating not as much heat. I'm a personal trainer, so it's just one of those things that I was like, oh, I like that. I actually ate a raw vegan meal just the other night.
Well, a meal is not the same as 10 years.
I know. Completely different like scales there.
No, but you should try it. I think it's very interesting the way it's really hard to go back to cooked food because I mean that was the only downside that I mentioned. I like to mention like the terrible things first, and then I'll give you all the benefits because it's so much easier, right? Like, so the benefits are completely insane. You have this insane focus on everything you do. You have zero cloudness in your mind, zero. And I'm talking zero. Like you take decisions snippety snappity fast, and you're like, there's no hesitation. You're so much more aware of different situations, different people. Like you can read people so much easier. I don't know, it's just like the speed of your brain increases, and it's like, yeah, I don't know, you feel like more in balance. Like at least my emotions were very stable.
So, do you think that you got into like what's the word I'm looking for, like a ketosis state, where because a lot of times people who are vegan are able to get into ketosis much more easily, and so in those states the mental actual like makes more effective?
Yeah, I think so. That's also it. But I think I'm almost permanently in ketosis, except for like some days because I'll have to go through like a little withdrawal, so it like it feels better again. But I never liked breakfasts, and like nobody could convince me to have a breakfast. And for some reason I really like to like since I was a child, I never liked snacking, so I wanted to like bunch the food, like bundle it together in more or less like 4 hours or something, and then just go on my merry way again.
So I wonder if this is just a completely curious thought. I wonder if it's the ketosis or the veganism that's giving you that clear-headedness.
Both.
Or
no,
both.
Actually, I would say, because now I'm doing a ketogenic vegan diet. Okay. Yeah, and I'm doing intermittent fasting at the same time. Well, that's all labels. Basically, I'm not eating for long
16 hours of the day or something like that.
I eat a little bit. I love coconuts, by the way. Whoever wants to have a better, healthier everything, start eating coconuts. Like I love to eat one coconut
saturated
a day.
Fat. It's good for you.
Oh, well, it's one of the actually healthiest fats you can find, according to the Bulletproof.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and it's interesting too because whenever you focus on your diet, I do agree. Like, breakfast is kind of annoying, honestly, and it just seemed kind of like getting in the way. And I've been curious about the whole idea of eating just like one meal a day or just two. And I think lately I've just been eating two out of pure instinctual habit. I'm not as hungry in the summertime, so I think that's a good idea. You mentioned sleep, and so do you know about sleep chronotypes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, yes, but I don't agree no more.
Okay.
I always thought I was an owl. And it turns out it wasn't that I was an owl. It's just that I could really concentrate during the night because nobody was making any noise, and I'm really sensitive to noise. So it was basically that. I realized that, got myself like noise canceling earphones, and now I'm waking up at 7. So, and that's so great because I'm getting the sunshine and it gives me more energy. So I do not agree. I think maybe I do, but I think there's a reason why a lot of people are night owls. Because if you have a crazy purpose that, unless you work like remotely for another country that is like Australia or something. Yeah. But mostly if you have a crazy like drive in your life, you really want to like wake up the earliest. Like it's just like without any alarm, I just wake up because I'm like, oh, I'm so excited for the day. And I really like to get as much sunshine as I possibly can because it really affects my mood and energy. I've noticed like 20 minutes at least. It's just such a boost, especially pairing. Like that's my morning ritual, little secret there. I like to drink matcha And I don't drink it hot. I drink it, I just dissolve it in cold water, and maybe I'm just like the antichrist for that, but because you don't do that. But I really enjoy it, and it tastes like grass. It's fantastic. And then I just sit in the sunshine for 20 minutes, and then I freaking rocket. Like, it's just,
you're ready
nobody
to go.
can speak with me. Yeah, like I just full on work for 6 hours at least. I can't speak to anybody because I speak way too fast. Because
I mean, you and I both. I'm sure people are listening in on this and like, man, we can't keep up with these two people. No,
this is 2x the speed. What?
I always tell people to listen to my videos in PolyCast at a higher speed, because that's what I do most videos. But like, this one's going to be at a little bit lower for most people, I feel like. You know, it's interesting. There's a Japanese green tea that is cold brew. And so it's probably similar to how you're making your matcha. I'm not sure how matcha reacts cold, though. I'm sure it probably reacts fine, but I'm wondering if it needs to be hot or cold will work. Because I'm pretty sure you can make it cold and it'll still activate just fine, or in a different way at least.
Maybe that's exactly what I need, because how could I put it? I'm very sensitive to caffeine. So if I drink an espresso, it's like taking a sniff, or I don't know, whatever you call it, like taking a dosage of cocaine for me.
Okay.
I'm just pumped, like, and I can sleep. Like I can fall asleep maybe after 48 or 72 hours of completely being awake and very fast and talking really fast and being all jittery. I can't drink coffee. And green tea is depending on which one gives me the same effect. But matcha, when it's cold, perfection.
Okay. Well, they say that green tea, there's also L-theanine in green tea, which is a relaxation but non-sedative supplement, which actually leads me to my next question here. Have you dug into nootropics much? Considering your already active brain, I'm curious to see if you had a reason to, but like, yeah.
Actually, I've noticed something recently. Maybe it could help somebody, but I don't take matcha every day. I don't take coffee every day. I don't take any boosters every day. But that's, I guess, my weird body. But I try, like, whenever I feel down or I feel unmotivated, I just medicate myself with coffee or matcha, or like even yerba mate, by the way.
Yeah, good. I was going to mention that earlier too.
Just, like,
perfect.
Slow burn. Amazing. Love it. And if you wanted to buy one, there's one that's, I think it's called La Merced, and it's like the barbacoa. Like it has like this smoky feeling. Amazing. So,
well, and just real quick, if they don't have that in your area, you could also try Giryaki. Is another good one. Is
it smoky?
I think a little bit, but not as much as what you're saying there, which sucks because I want it to be smoky.
Yeah, they just should Google the smoky ones, because yerba mate is not as good, at least for my own taste buds, when it's not smoky. But when it has this like smoky feel, you feel like you're drinking bonfire, and it's amazing. But yeah, anyways, we were talking about nootropics. I've tried modafinil. I love vitamins. I grew up in a family who is crazy about vitamin supplements, every possible thing that is not typical traditional medicine. So yeah, I have this like supplements that I take every day, obviously with withdrawals, otherwise they wouldn't work. But yeah, and I've tried modafinil when I was studying for exams, so I cheated kind of.
Just performance enhancing.
Well, combining with my body, that was cheating.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I'm not judging. I like it.
Have you ever tried modafinil?
I think I tried a subset, because I think modafinil is connected to the racetam family, and I've taken many racetams.
Okay, modafinil is it's basically a pill for narcolepsy, against narcolepsy, not for it. It's not narcolepsy inducing. I offended somebody out there right now.
Well, so what I'd like to do is classify nootropics in three ways. You have the supplement, the support. I mean, you have the support, the power, and then the memory.
Relax.
No, the memory. I guess relax.
Oh, then you classify it exactly like Bulletproof does.
Okay, well that's perfect then. Great minds think alike, as they say. And so like you have the power, like caffeine, modafinil, and I would even say relax goes into that. It's just more of like a negative power, so it brings you back down. When you combine L-theanine, or you take caffeine, brings you up, L-theanine brings you back down and levels you out, and that's still kind of a power aspect.
Nice way to put it.
Then you have support, like you were saying, with vitamins and getting the choline. And you have memory. So like huperzine, Chinese hanging moss allow you to remember things more effectively.
I would say memory, the best thing I've done for my memory is turn off notifications on my phone and throw it away. Basically that, because that's something that really hijacks your memory. I think it's mostly, there's like a really cool technique that you know probably if you watch Sherlock, and that he uses. And most of the memory, like competitive memorizers, I guess, use, and it's called Memory Palace, right? So
can you explain that for the audience?
Yeah, sure. Basically, you imagine a place you know really well. It could be your house, it could be your room, it could be a street where you grew up on. And whenever you need to remember something, depends, there's three types of memory, so it also, you have to kind of play into that as well, whether you're visual, whether you're auditory or kinesthetic. So if you're a visual, let's go with the easy way, because that's the majority of people. You imagine, for example, this room, right? And like in VR, imagine this room really clearly. And then you take the things, whatever you want to remember. Let's say I wanted to remember your phone number, right? I would think of, if it started with a 9, I would imagine whatever 9 associated into with in my brain. So for example, 9, I think of Germans who are like 9, 9, 9. So I think of a Nazi German standing right there, right in my room. So it kind of like, and then you kind of think like through what is the typical journey that you take in your room, right? So first is going to be the Nazi German. Then let's say the number is 5. And then I'm totally guessing your number, imagine. But yeah, and the number is 5. And the 5 for some reason associates in my brain with a pig. So that Nazi German holds a pig in their left hand. So it's like a little bit further down the line, and you kind of continue narrating this story in a place you know really well. 7. Oh, have you seen, there's amazing, oh my god, soundtrack is just to die for.
Okay.
It's amazing TV show. It's called Umbrella Academy, and there's a guy called, wait, actually he's 4. For some reason I'm thinking 7, but there's 7 people, and 7 is, spoiler alert, might or not be the problem of this whole thing, but totally spoiler alert. But yeah, okay, there's 7. Okay, let's put it this way. You can cut it out, but there's 7 people in total, right? In Umbrella Academy, there's 7 people with superpowers. So I think of Umbrella Academy maybe logo, right? Mm-hmm. So you imagine all that, and you narrate this story. You're like, okay, Nazi German maybe stole a pig, took it to Umbrella Academy, right? So and that's how you remember things. Yeah.
There's also
I used to like, there's a weird thing. Whenever I had to learn poetry as a kid, I would just put the words on top of my favorite pop songs. So I would still remember the poems, that because I just like rhymed it with whatever song I liked in the moment, and I would sing it in my head whenever I had to like present it.
Like a mnemonic in a way?
Sorry?
Mnemonic?
Yeah. I love mnemonic techniques. Basically, that's the best thing that you can do for your memory. I mean, you can still do some things, like you can take blueberries and I don't know, whatever. But I think the best way is to keep your body clean, get rid of social media, distractions, like no notifications. No, okay. Social media. There's another thing. There's a really cool movie. If you want to watch something about social media, there's a cool documentary that just came out in Netflix, and I'm like just subscribing my putting my name under all of what they said, because it's like I feel this effect. I feel it in my sister. I feel it in my friends. It's real. And just watch it. And I don't know, social media used with caution.
Yes, I think so. Yeah. And if you're going to use it more, use it strategically. Don't use it to get a dopamine rush, as you say. Yeah.
But it's hard. So you have to be very cautious. Basically turn off notifications. That's like good 80% of the problem.
Yeah. And don't use it the first hour of the day. Back actually to it, something we were talking about earlier, sleep chronotypes. I think one thing to mention too is that a lot of the researchers say that it changes over your lifetime too. So you said that you wake up more early now. It could have been because you have a more peaceful life now too, but I wonder if it might have also been because it changed.
No. No. I don't like peace. I love being at peace, but my life is nowhere to be peaceful.
Okay, well, I meant more as in like you don't have the noise that's distracting you, so you're more at peace when you're doing your things at night or in the morning. That's
no. I just got noise canceling headphones, so whatever is happening in the world, like the birds are chirping, it doesn't like just completely destroy my attention. Deep work is it's a huge thing.
Oh,
and whenever and it's interestingly enough, people say like you can work 6 max 7 hours or something like that, around that number hours a day. If you biohack your life, you can work for 12, and I am the living breathing thing just who says that. I think if you put your mind to it, you can do it every day, and it could be fun. And there's something that for example, if you have, I don't know if that thing that you've tried, if it's modafinil related, but the effect it had on me. People, by the way, consult your doctor, and if you don't want to go to the doctor, which I didn't do, don't just take into the account that what it does, like research what it does exactly, but it basically narrows down. It's like smoking, if I'm not mistaken. It narrows down your capillaries. So if you have any problems with cardiovascular system, don't do it. Basically, because you can have problems. So what it did to me, it was very interesting. I'm pretty ADHD. Yeah, as you can tell by that conversation that we're having right now, I'm pretty ADHD. And now I've learned to hack my focus, but then I had no idea. And it really gave me this new threshold. It really gave me this new perspective how it can be, because it was ridiculous. I was studying accounting of all things. Spoiler alert, very boring. So actually very useful as well, but very boring. But that was years down the line that I realized it was really useful. Basically, you have to focus on something absolutely ridiculously boring for hours and hours and hours. That doesn't serve any purpose. When you take modafinil, the most tedious, boring tasks become a video game to you. You're like, ooh, level up. Let's see, like new chapter. Great. Oh my God, let's highlight the shit out of it. It's amazing. So yeah, I don't know. It was the craziest focus. And I think it also did something to my serotonin levels, because I really enjoyed things that I do not really enjoy, because I guess it gave me a different like line.
Perception filter too, I feel like.
Yeah, it was so nice. It was so interesting to see that reality. And
so, well, just to interject there, it's interesting because like it's a hard supplement. Modafinil is one of those more like synthetic and harder on the system, but it can be helpful. I try to, and that's what you said. There's something I've read online, like a lot of people talking about how that's how they felt as well. I think my modafinil experience is very minimal. I've experimented with synthetic stuff like racetams and a little bit of modafinil at one point, but mostly natural-based nootropics. And regardless, you can have hard or easy on the system. Like Bacopa is really good for memory and focus and power, but if you take too much of it, it gives you the bathrooms. I'm not going to say it, but like you have to go to the bathroom a lot.
And the bathrooms. The bathrooms. Just 10 bathrooms. It builds in your room.
Bathrooms. And also too, one thing I wanted to mention about the ADHD is that like I've had a lot of guests on the show that are multi-potentialites, the people who have the potential to do many different things. And one thing I've been finding is that a lot of ADHD people have it, identify as multi-potentialites, people who can do many different things. And I think it's just the wiring in your brain is not a negative thing. It's more of just like you have that divergent brain that allows you to do many different things. And so what are your thoughts on that?
I agree. But there's this little thing though. If you want to do something really well, you need to focus. And that's something that ADHD people haven't learned to do by definition. Most of the cases, they have to learn it, because otherwise they can't be a master of whatever thing they want to master, right? Because you can't focus fully on something. And that's something that I had to learn. And thank God I'm here now. It's still a process, but now I can really focus for a long periods of time without any supplements whatsoever. Just like, for example, today I woke up, didn't take anything but water. I guess it's just the ketosis, but you know, no supplements whatsoever. Pushed in 8 hours at work. Fantastic, super amazing. So yeah, I had a couple of calls, and it's still, I'm having very precise focus. Otherwise I will be like, I'm still jumping on topics, but
yeah, but I mean, we're in a flow.
Yeah.
We're talking together, and we're both enjoying it. And one thing I also find that like a lot of people who have ADHD have the ability to hyper focus. So when they're really interested in something, they're able to go for 12 hours on end and focus on it. And there's actually a micro polycast I made recently about macro and micro focus. And so the macro being the kind of like, what are you doing in this quarter, this month, and kind of thinking bigger picture. And that way you kind of get a picture of where you're going to go and that you need to do now. The micro focus is like, what are you doing today for deep work and that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And hyper focus is something that is absolutely incredible. Probably ADHD is hereditary. I'm not sure, but I'm just looking at my uncle, and he is that person who is, if there was a word beyond hyper, he would be that. He is hyper focused individual in his essence. He can do things. He will shred his fingers, but he will nail to the T, like whatever solo, like he's a crazy guitar player, so whatever solo he wanted. If he wants to get a little bit more muscly in the gym, he will rip his tendons by putting, like, so he will try everything in the world if he's interested in one topic. Like the most, like I kind of,
maybe I need to have him on the show.
Imagine anybody. Yeah, but good luck. But yeah, he like, I don't know. He thinks everything is a distraction, but I guess that's why he's super focused. But Jesus, like he's that kind of person that he focuses a little bit way too much. Like just. I don't know if he's human at all. Like if aliens were on this planet, it would be him.
It would be him. I feel like there also is some points where you do need to get unfocused and just detached from the world. And that's the more philosophical, I think, in me. But yeah. So I see multi-potential lives.
How do you detach?
It's a good question. I feel like I don't do it as much because I'm a techie. I have 3 screens in front of me here and my phone over there, and I don't do as good as you with social media. So it's one of those things where I don't detach enough, but when I try to, I'll go for a walk and listen to an audiobook, which is not fully detaching, but it gives me more outside in the sun and like get kind of in my own zone, or meditate if I can, if I have time for it.
Yeah. You always have time for meditation. Always, like, it's just that you don't want to find time for it. Like,
well,
I'm so sick and tired of this phrase. Like, yeah, exactly. If I have time for meditation, I'm like, no, no, just stop here.
So I think of multi-potentialites as kind of like the beginning of a spectrum to polymathy. And so I want to leave that last term for you here. What is a polymath to you?
That's a fantastic question. I think it's somebody who has a growth mindset mostly, and has, as you said earlier, an avid curiosity for things. Because once you stop, like somebody who's a childlike curiosity, I would say that would be a better,
a geniosity?
better word for it. Huh? Yeah,
a geniosity.
Right. Yeah, a geniosity. That would be a better word for it. But yeah, I think somebody who is a polymath is somebody who is learning and acting like a kid. Who's just absorbing the knowledge and trying it out.
Like your uncle.
Yeah, true.
And like ourselves, I feel like, as well. So active learning and trying to focus on things. And what I really find fascinating is that like you have a total of 7 languages in your repertoire. And so how did you learn all of them? What was the curiosity drive for you toward that?
Well, I am a huge aficionado of movies. Of filmography. We're speaking in Latin at the moment, but yeah, I love movies, and I really hate voiceovers. Basically, that's one of the big reasons I really love movies. I grew up on French movies. I really enjoy German movies. I don't know why. I guess it's just like the culture. And I grew up in Russia. My early childhood was there, so there goes Russian. Then since I was a little kid, I was learning English.
Yeah.
So yeah, hence not a very Russian accent right now. And yeah, I don't know. And then I moved to Spain. So like some languages just happened for me, you know, like I moved to Spain, learned French, learned French here as well. But like I learned Spanish and Catalan here just by default because I lived here. And then basically, I think the best advice I can give to somebody learning languages, it would be just go live somewhere. Go like dive into it. Otherwise, try watching movies in the language with subtitles in the language, having preemptively learned the basic grammar and the basic, 100 words, including the verbs of that language. You'll just start picking it up. I recommend Disney Channel because they overreact on anything. They're like, how are you thinking this, you know? And you're like, you can kind of like see what they're talking about on their faces. So I would recommend that. Just watch, like, if you want to learn Chinese, watch Disney Channel in Chinese if it's a thing. So yeah, it happened this way. And then I dated a couple of people that were speaking the languages, and I wanted to understand their culture, because there's a thing that I really love is basically you can't understand the logic of a person unless you understand the logic of their language, because you can't understand what's inside of your head unless you understand, because every language has its own logic, and that's the most important thing. Every language has its own richness as well. For example, the word love has, you know, it has like some synonyms in English, probably 2 or 3, right? Like you fall in love, you love somebody, you like somebody. In Spanish, it has, for example, for strong love, which in English is just love, you have querer y amar, which is very interesting, by the way. The other day, somebody explained it to me. Querer, it's like desire somebody.
I want.
But it also means love. Yeah.
Te quiero. Te amo.
Yeah. But if you say amo, it comes from amar, which also can mean own somebody, which is interesting. Yeah. You know, you love them, but you own them instead of desire them. So you already caught the prey, I guess. So it's interesting. You can understand how the culture behaves, like how the culture thinks. And that explains a lot about what is inside of like the person's head. The same, for example, there's 16, if I'm not mistaken, words in Greek for the word love. 16. Can you imagine?
It's like passionate. That's crazy. 16.
Yeah. Like, and I guess very specific. So these people like the details.
Yeah. That's interesting though. I mean, like, I don't know. It's one of those things where different languages have that different impact on your brain too. They say that when you start thinking in a different language, it changes how you think, like you're saying there, the logic behind it. Not only that too. By the way, watching movies in different language, I totally agree. I love Bollywood. Yeah. So I learned a lot of like Hindi, particularly.
Bollywood. Did you just say Bollywood? Indian.
Yes. Hindi.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And
You're
so
the
like
first person I meet. Wow.
Yeah. It's one of those things where like I grew up with one when I was like 13, and then since then I've watched as much as I could. But only
why Bollywood? Like, just why? Tell me. I'm curious.
I don't know. Bollywood has a unique way of making movies, and I love music too. So having all those different like musical moments in the movies has been a lot of fun. Slash, I get a little mushy when it comes to like the love movies, the romance ones. So
yeah, like drama, love,
the drama,
adventure.
Well, and what's interesting with Bollywood is that like they have intermissions, so they have basically like 2 movies in one usually. So the movies are like 2.5 hours, 3 hours long half the time, depending on which movie it is. And then like the first half is almost like the regular movie. The second half is almost like a sequel within the movie. It's crazy.
Oh, wow.
Like at one point, the first half took place in India. The second half took place like 10 years later in the UK. It was just like, okay.
Ooh. Yeah. I think I've seen only one Bollywood movie in my life, and it was like very popular one. So it wasn't like the authentic one. That's so cool. I'll watch it like this week.
Well, we'll exchange movies. How about that? At the end.
Okay, that works.
Yeah, and so it's interesting too, because like you said, like watching with subtitles with the actual language and learning that. That's it.
That's so cool. Damn, like I want to learn Hindi now, but like it's kind of useless, right? Because like everybody speaks such wonderful English, which.
And the real big thing with India is that there's tons of different dialects, and so you go to one city over, it could be a completely different dialect, and there's dozens of them, I think, for the most part. And it's interesting too how the languages evolved. I talked to someone on the PolyCast, and he said a lot of languages, including even Russian, originated from Sanskrit. And I don't know enough about the anthropology of it to know that for sure, but it's interesting nonetheless. Have you heard of Esperanto?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Do you know any of it?
Well, I think everybody does. Well, knowing the languages I know, I can like, I don't know how to like perfectly speak it, but I definitely understand exactly every word they say.
Okay, so what am I saying here? La canabo está bona.
Oh, that's actually a good word. What is la canabo?
The boy.
Wait, what? Sorry, la canabo. Oh, okay. It's good.
Yeah,
something is good. Yeah.
Well, bona is like Spanish for bueno or buena.
It's more like Portuguese or Catalan.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting about Esperanto. So it takes Germanic.
It's something else.
It's been so long. You're testing me now.
No, I'm curious. I
honestly can't think of
competitive now.
Yeah, no, but I love that. I don't know if I can remember anything. That's the one that I remember being really strong. Dankan is thank you, but that's like obviously
like danke in German. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like basically a mixed mash of all the European languages and Latin as the overlaying, like
yes. Well, it's funny because like I grew up with Spanish, like I mentioned, and then I dabbled a tiny bit in French because of French music, and then I only know a tiny bit of Italian. But if I read like an Italian menu, I can often read most of what it says because it has parallels and cognates in the other two languages.
What kind of French music? I'm just curious, and I want to judge you. Is it French rap?
No, I mean, he's obvious. Yeah, he's pop. And then let's see, Kenji, Hirak, and then Matre hymns.
I was like, is it reggaeton? Is it French reggaeton? Like, tell me that. I'll just I'll have a judgment about you.
Okay, you don't like reggaeton then?
Ton. No, I'm joking. I'm just saying, like, because I think it's something absolutely ridiculous that reggaeton got translated in other languages as well. It's like Spanish wasn't enough for you. But yeah, it's quite an interesting phenomenon. That's why I wanted to judge you.
I'm pretty chill about a lot of things, but it is interesting because like we naturally judge people. So what is the psychology behind a lot of your ethos in life? Again,
there's a little problem. It comes with a story. I used to be very open-minded, and then there was like this I used to be so open-minded that it was practically dangerous, but I was so open-minded, but using the law of attraction, I guess I just like magnetized all the good things into my life and like just walked on the edge of the world and didn't fall in for some reason. But yeah, I just did a lot of crazy stuff when I was a little bit younger. And because I was really I shouldn't say that but I was really open-minded. It's nothing illegal. It's just like I was in very weird, precarious situations. Like one of them was I went with this amazing random guy that I met like a minute ago. I went in the middle of the night. It was like 2 a.m. in Amsterdam, in the middle of like, I went to like this industrial area. There was only warehouses, nobody, not a soul. I went to like a illegal rave right there. Didn't know anybody. My phone was dying. And that guy got really drunk. I lost him in the crowd. Everybody was really drunk. And I was like, I don't even know where I am. It's in the middle of warehouses. If they kill me, like nobody will ever hear me here.
How did you feel?
No, I was fine. I was totally like feeling it. I was just trying to like prank people who were really drunk. But anyways, yeah, I'm playing like what is called foosball with, again, waiting everybody because like everybody was drunk and not me because I don't drink. But yeah, it was really weird because I never was surrounded by so many drunk and like drugged out people. It was an experience, but yeah, I realized that it was kind of dangerous like just months later, saying like I'm really open-minded. I was. Now I'm like, I'm learning how to judge people again because there's this amazing musician and comedian called Tim Minchin, and he is Australian. Yeah, he's Australian. So yeah, and he said in one of his songs something that really resonated with me at the moment, and I was like, this is the moment. He said, if you open your mind too much, your brain as well may fall out. So, and I was like, this is me. And my brain is like on the verge of falling out from what I'm feeling. I'm super open-minded, maybe to the degree that I shouldn't be, but at the same time, like open-mindedness guards you from a lot of things. Like if you're in a dangerous situation, or by normal standards it will be like a bad situation and you should feel bad about it, I didn't. I don't care. But yeah, it was very interesting. And then I started to teach myself how to judge people and situations again, and being like a little bit, you know, like
closed off a little bit. Yeah.
No, it's weird.
I mentioned earlier a little bit sort of that my principle is balance, and like the balance between philosophy and science, but not just that, but like balance in general as well. And you had to find that balance yourself in whatever way you had to do it.
Right, but it was a little bit of a weird way. Usually people try to become more open-minded. I was like, I'm gonna close this. It's falling out. It's bad. Bad idea.
So I have a little story I think that you might find interesting. It kind of goes back to the whole biohacking too, in a way. There was a man who supposedly lived to be 200 in China. I don't remember his name. And honestly, I'd like to believe that it actually is true. I know it's probably not, but like just out of pure kind of just whatever. But he attributed 3 things to his long life, and one of the things also too, he was a herbologist. He traveled the entire continent around there, getting roots and Himalayan tar, I think, even, and all these different things that could help him prolong his life. So presumably there is merit that he could have lived longer than most people, at least. He also attributed 3 things to his long life. Number 1, he ate minimally, which we mentioned earlier. Timing and fasting is very important. And there's actually science behind it as well when it comes to the telomeres in the cells. So at the very end of the chromosomes, the telomeres, they can only be replicated so many times. When you eat, you often have to burn through the cells to get the power, the mitochondria to actually use it. Not to bore anybody in the audience here or you, but like essentially, you can only replace those so many times. The more you eat, the more you replace them. So eating minimally is helpful for that. The second thing was he took big strides. So when he walked, he took nice big strides, which helps with the cardio. Great. The last thing was, which is why you made me think of it, is he never touched a drop of alcohol, which is a poison. So it makes sense. So what is your thought on that man?
Good for him. Did he die?
I would hope not.
You said that he supposedly wanted to prolong his life with all those things. I was like, did he die preemptively? Like, what happened there?
No.
I
didn't say he wanted to. I said he supposedly did live 200.
I did. Okay, cool.
So there's like a couple of records of him in the Chinese government.
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense, because alcohol, even though like a lot of medics are prescribing you to drink 1 glass of red wine a day.
Vince is not that great for you.
No, but they tell you to, because there's some benefit, but it's not, it's not enough to kind of counteract this terrible damage you do to your body. And I don't know. I just think that, okay, about medicine, that's why it's like I'm so into biohacking and stuff. There's a little thing. I don't really trust the doctors, because they don't do what they preach as much. Like they're like, oh yeah, let's do this and you'll be healthy. And it's like the typical, like the fat dietitians, the pimply, aesthetic, cosmetic, what are they called? Dermatologists.
Dermatologists. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know if I should trust you. I have a personal friend, he's a doctor, and he's a doctor. He studied for like 10 years of med school, 10 years. And you'd think he would be the most healthiest person I know. Not at all. And that's something that is really puzzles me, like if you should trust what the typical doctors say. That's why I like biohacking community more than doctors, because they really go to the grain of the problem instead of like,
well, speaking of the community, do you know Sim Land?
I'm not really good with names, but maybe if you tell me what he did, I will remember.
He talks about like autophagy and other stuff as well. He was one of the first content creators I came across when I was looking at stuff. But like I can't speak anything. Low carb, high performance, ketosis tips, and intermittent fasting. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like common knowledge.
Yeah,
I don't think he is like the ultimate source, but I don't know. Actually, maybe I know about him. It's just I don't really look at names that much, unless it's somebody who I really love.
He spoke at like the BioHacker Summit, that kind of thing. So I figured you might have seen him at some point. No big deal. So what are some ways to balance your life in the areas of business, psychology, and health? I think that's a good question to ask.
There's amazing framework that I use. I like frameworks.
Yeah.
But there's amazing frameworks that I stole actually from somebody. It's not mine. It's not my idea, but I think it works the best according to my own experience. Empirical data, haha. I call it according to my experience. And it's called the Wheel of Life.
Yep.
And it basically, you've heard of it, right?
I don't think so. Please explain it.
Okay. Basically, it's like a wheel, one of those turn the wheel kind of games, but it looks like one of those wheels, and every section is something. It's a wheel for a reason. Every section is an aspect of your life, like family and friends, love life, sleep, health, blah 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 blah, career. So there's an amount of very important aspects, like that. I think they're pretty top notch at the way of how they were chosen, right? Mm-hmm. Because I think it's like, for example, as any of the personality tests, if you ever took one, they usually use a framework as well. But the question is, are they asking, like, is the separation good? For example, the 16 personality test, once I did it, and then I was like, let's dig a little bit deeper. And then they say, oh, you're like 2% of the population, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, well, if you divide the personality, like the 100% in 16, it's what, like 4 or 6%. If I'm one of the 4 or 6, it's like, it's not a big deal.
What did you get? Like, out of curiosity. I feel like you're an extrovert, so I feel like you got the E. Intuitive.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're a feeler or not. Are you? I'm an ENFP, so I don't know what that's. I know INFJ a little bit sometimes, but
I'm NTP.
NTP.
Yeah, I'm a thinker, but I'm a kinesthetic, which is interesting. I'm a thinker, but I experience my world through touch and like smell, and like that's something that gives me memory, and brings me memories. So I can just like zone out for hours touching a really nice surface because I'm like, ooh, this is interesting. So I'm not gonna touch the mic, but
yeah. No, but
everybody's
it's interesting.
Like,
I got something that I think you'll find fascinating. So I worked at an escape room facility, and at one point we were switching the rooms for something else. And so in the meantime, we made a temporary room called Blackout, where you literally get blindfolded and you can only touch and hear things to get out of the room.
Nice.
And so you touch like it's gone now, so I don't care about spoiling it. But like you touch like a metal mirror, or like not metal mirror, but like a metal surface or a mirror, or like some carpet, and just try to figure out the puzzles from that. Like, is this a 3? Like, what is this? Yeah. It's kind of cool.
Sensory deprivement, that's cool.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a book that I was reading, because I read like 3 books at the time. Hey, hey.
I do it too. It's all good.
Okay, then I'm normal. Yay! But basically, there's like a little fabule that talked about the 3 blind men that were touching different parts of an elephant, and they all had their own vision of what it is. And it's I don't know if you've heard about this book. It's called Reality Transfer by Vadim Zeland. It's a Russian author, but it's also translated in many languages because it's a very interesting book. It's about like, how do you transform reality, and that's the thing that I coach. And it's very interesting. It's basically the whole notion is that it's not about like, you don't have a destiny, and it's not that you're following something, or you don't really create a destiny. It's basically you attracted by seeing life in a certain way, something like that. But it gets a little bit deeper. It gets a little bit deeper. But I absolutely subscribe, sign after every word that he says. It's very interesting, the theory and everything, and if you practice it, it's like it's another rocket ship launch.
What do you see then for your life? What are you driving after?
Oof, it's a good question. I don't know. I don't really know. I think something that I came to, like, if you're basically asking like, what's the meaning of life for you,
for you in particular.
Point of view, to reiterate it, I would say I had it changed many times. And I think at the moment, what I am chasing after is to have a full life, I guess. Something that is so like full of experiences and different little things. Like, if you go to a supermarket, just get something you haven't tried yet, just do first things all the time. Basically, that's my idea. It's like not getting a routine routine, like you do get a routine, like for like little things to like habits and blah blah blah, optimization,
Systems
different
and,
thing.
yeah.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about having something different every day. So you are having this like kid-like life your entire life. Yeah, because I talk to older people quite often and they say, oh, you know, I don't remember what happened in the last 10 years. It's just been the same. And I'm like, yeah, well, I remember, like, I feel like 10 years of your life, sometimes like you make it sound like a week or maybe 2+ days of mine, because I just, you know, just remember everything because everything is so new. It's something that I want to keep up doing. I think that's definitely just experience a lot of things. Try not to do the bad ones, but experience a lot of things. And another, I guess, meaning of life is just going, like, just doing the things you want and not being scared of it, being in this like full abundance mindset and just going for stuff. And yeah, it's just because there's a thing that I watched today just before coming on this call. I had a little break and I was sipping my tea, and it's not really tea, it's kombucha, but actually it's tea, but
it's fermented tea.
Yeah, it is. And I was listening to this guy on YouTube. I still don't know his name. It was one of the recommendeds, by the way. This is bad algorithm, but still. And he was saying how, what is better, to have a life where you're cautious, you know, where you're like, maybe I shouldn't swim with the sharks, you know, well, maybe just let's not eat this poisonous thing, you know, or like, well, I mean, these are extremes, but still, like, or like chasing for your dreams, or going for the person you like, or like if you want to talk to somebody, just spam their inbox with good creative messages. Obviously, don't copy paste it, like, but you know, like just really going for it. And because what's the worst thing that can happen? You'll be at the same place where you're at, but without regrets.
Exactly. People saying no is like the worst thing. One of the guests I had recently, Ali Abdal, who's like a really awesome YouTuber, I just cold messaged him on the Instagram and was just genuine, like, hey, I just really want you on the show. I think you're polymathic and I want to talk to you about that. And it's just like, worst he could have said is no.
Yeah, I mean, you have a very like ego feeding intro, because like polymath is like, oh yeah, really? Thank you. Somebody appreciates. So it's a good one. It's smart. I like that.
Thank you. So one thing I talk a lot about on PolyInnovator is this 4 pillars philosophy, and I think you'll really like it. Kind of what you were saying earlier, where you kind of just took it from somewhere else. And for me, it was just old philosophies, but trying to modernize it. You have the mind, body, spirit, and emotions, and trying to find a balance between them and working on them each. And like you said, your uncle would, like, when he wants to get better physically, he'll just go out in a very polymathic way. And so, like, what is your thoughts on that philosophy, and how do you incorporate it?
Well, little thing. My uncle is not going at it only physically. He is also like trying to like boost his mind or whatever. Like, but I'm just like, I'm showing you like the physical examples because it's much easier. But oh Jesus, that man, he probably knows like then like all the professors at any university combined and multiplied. Like it's like his brain is the supercomputer. It's just
and that's a good example. Like I use the physical aspect that you mentioned earlier as a way to simplify it, but it is mind, body, and all the different areas. So like you said, exactly.
Yeah, the question was that how do you combine them? Right.
Well, how do you personally pursue your each pillar, so to speak?
Oh, that's a long question. Let's see.
Tangent bait right there.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Then a little thing. Then I'm gonna give you keywords, something that I really appreciate. So if you can just then Google later what everything means if you don't know what it is. Body. I like doing yoga. I like doing HIIT, which is HIIT, high intensity interval training, right? Then I really like doing sports that are fun, because I think like when you just, you know, maybe for guys it's different, I don't know, but I like to do sports that are fun, that are like not just lifting or something. Like for me, this is really boring. I like to play competitive sports. I love badminton for some reason. It's just like, oh, I can go at it for hours. So it's basically like do things that motivate you, because I think exercise is something that is very hard for a lot of people nowadays, because everything is in the computers and the screens, and it's hard to do exercise if you're not used to it, if you're beginning. So I would just say like do things that are fun for you, and then they will stick really well. Or go to a city where they cycle a lot, like Copenhagen.
Yeah.
You
Yourself
just
with
can't.
that.
Yeah, you just can't get rid of it. Yeah, basically anything you want to acquire, that's a good advice. Surround yourself with people or the thing itself. So you can't just not do it. You'll just automatically absorb it or do it or practice it or learn it.
You mentioned like ketosis and stuff like that being more mentally clear, but how do you train your mind pillar then?
Okay, well, let's go back to the body.
Okay, I thought,
yeah,
sorry.
I would say I'm drinking 6 liters a day at least. So I'm just like getting bottles so I can measure them well. Vitamins. Yeah, basically, if you Google, like, it's a good way to start vitamins is to Google bulletproof coffee and the things that they recommend. I think it's great. And there was also a really good Medium article on the guy that spent 200 grand in dollars, and his name is something like Sergey something. I don't remember.
CEO or something like that.
I don't know, but he's a friend of a friend. That's how I found out about this. And he's from Silicon. He does something in Silicon Valley. I don't know. Like,
I think he is a CEO. I think I know who you're talking about.
He's a CEO.
I think so.
Okay, well, he's a CEO, I guess then.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, and he like, if you want to start with nootropics or supplements, like that's a good way to start, because he made a lab rat out of himself, and he really like tried a lot of things that would be like the gateway drug in the biohackers community. So yeah, I would advise that. And body wise, again, clean your diet, become vegan. You can, like, us mostly, that's my recommendation from my own experience and from experiences of people around me, because they definitely experience drastic changes, like in their appearance, in their feelings, because meat is not as bad as dairy. Dairy is, yeah, interesting. Let's put it this way. Peculiar. Like my French roommate used to say, peculiar, it's peculiar. And I'm like, oh, that's terrible, right? I'm just like, yeah. So yeah, I would say that experiment with that. Just go on an elimination diet. If something is bugging you with your body, go on elimination diet. Eliminate everything that could give you allergy, like the typical corn, soy, whatever, and just go like on, I don't know, tomatoes and cucumbers for a week, and then start adding things to your diet. You can solve a lot of things. You don't have to go to a dietitian. You don't have to do all this. Like, there's a really fun test you can take. I mean, again, if you're really into it, you can find out about your gut bacteria and what food exactly you have to eat and not. And it's called something with a V. I don't remember anymore. So you could do that. It could be a shortcut. So basically that, body wise, it's diet, exercise, make sure it's fun basically for you, and make sure you can cook so well, honestly. Like, there's this cheese that's vegan and it's almost indistinguishable, if not better. Yeah. I've tested it on Dutch people, and they're crazy cheese hats, and they were like, whoa, this is vegan. I'm like, yeah, it's made of coconut oil, and it's called BioLife with V. And yeah, and they were like, what the hell? Like, I can't believe it. I'm like, yeah. And they're all like convinced non-dairy eaters anymore.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's that. And okay, mind. Whew, okay. I'm gonna say something that is very basic. Meditate, visualize, affirmations, keep a diary. Basically, there's like a thing, another article you can find with a little bit more in detail. The 7 morning routine habits or activities that high performers do. And it's basically that. It's journaling, it's meditating, it's affirmations, visualizing, and 2 more that I can't remember right now because I don't do it. But basically, if you choose some of them, your mind would be very good. And I guess hyper-focus, try to eliminate all the distractions. Just Google how to do it. That's the easiest way.
And just one little interjection. You can see this room here is really pretty much clutter-free, besides that one little spot right there that I've been messing with today. But like minimalism, clearing the mind, clearing your space, that kind of thing.
Oh, amen, preach. I absolutely agree. And I really didn't like that saying of like, make your bed before you start the day, because I'm a messy person. Like,
Yeah.
I like to think I'm a messy person. Actually, I'm not.
Probably compared to
But
most people, you're just like
I'm
super OCD.
Yeah, well, maybe, yeah. But I'm very chill. I'm very chill. And I think I'm not messy. I'm just chill. And I think it's like, it was an act of rebellion towards my mom. And she really does know better, sadly, because I always thought I knew better, but it's not true. She always was really adamant of about me cleaning and making the bed, and didn't get it. And Jordan Peterson said it, and I was like, nope, doesn't make sense. Tried it for just try doing it for 2 weeks. It's 2 minutes of your time. Do it for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, 2-3 weeks, because habits usually stick after 21 if you want to make it a habit. But if you want to feel a difference, it's usually a week.
Well, I meant less than, like, it doesn't even take 2 minutes to make your bed. It takes like 20 seconds. That's what I meant.
Depending on the bed you have.
Yeah. Well, you got like a California king size bed over there, Alisa. So, it's funny. No,
we'll see. It's classified.
No. And so, okay. When it comes to spirituality, then how can you biohack your spirituality, which is kind of almost a oxymoron, but I think it could be done. So
I'm like, it's biology and spirituality are different things.
How can you spiritually hack yourself then?
Okay, that's a good one. I would say, first of all, my life hack on this path is, well, be born in a Russian family. No, but I guess it's to surround yourself with people who are spiritual. And I used to be, I was born into a Christian family, and I always thought that my parents are just stupid, like, why do they believe in God? And so I became an atheist when I was a teenager. And now I'm 24, and I'm kind of like realizing that I was the mistaken one, honestly. It's not that I'm particularly interested in any religion, like, whatsoever. Mm-hmm. It's more of like the idea behind it, the community, like the pillars are fantastic. The problem is like the way it's being used, and that's why I got completely like pushed away from it. I think spirituality, you can find it in church, definitely. It depends, right? The problem is not the church. The problem is the people, who are using who are using the Bible and the whatever, the rules and the ideas to their own interest and benefit. And I think that's the problem. Mm-hmm. But I think you can find you can reach that level of like enlightenment or whatever, and balance.
I like the way you say that. That was cool.
No, I'm just trying to like, because you can't say these words unironically anymore, because like if you do, nobody takes you seriously. How can you say I'm woke without being ironic? Like,
or even just kind of like an asshole in a way. Like, so if you say I'm woke, people are gonna be thinking like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, everybody hates you straight away, and it's like that's something that I'm not trying to portray, because then people don't listen, and you like, it's just for the lack of better word. And I think if you want to reach enlightenment, there's a lot of ways to do it, but I think one of the safest way and the best way, there's a really nice guy. I want to talk to him one day when I find the time, when I make the time.
Yes.
His name is Sadhguru, spelled as sad like crying, then H, and then guru like guru. Right?
He's really cool.
It's an Indian guru, again, it's an Indian guru, and I think the way he teaches, he talks about life, or he talks about spirituality, is very useful. It's very practical, and he really lets you understand some things. It's not out of reach for the majority. It's not like the voodoo talk, right? He really explains you why you do some things. Why, for example, there was like a really interesting talk that goes really against like Spanish culture, for instance. It's how a lot of monks, they don't like to touch other people if they're not sure about that person, if it's a stranger. How, even though like touch is a huge pillar in our communities, or why monks don't take any precious stones or salt or minerals from other people, because there's an explanation to everything. Or why, for example, that's a little bit of a risky topic, but why not a lot
You're
of
canceled.
people.
Sorry.
Sorry?
Said you're
You're
canceled.
canceled. No, I'm just saying. I'm just like, I don't know like how people will take this, but he kind of goes against this like Netflix and chill culture. He goes against having a lot of partners. And it kind of like, I didn't think about it before I've heard it from him, but it kind of does make sense. I don't know, like it's very interesting just to listen to different opinions, because nowadays I think it's like a lot of people are like, as Esther Perel says, are monogamish, like because monogamy is like one person per your life. We're doing one person at a time, so it's different. But it's interesting the way like he sees it. He's like, the way if you're with one person, your energy gets either, depending on the way you see it, either polluted by that person or you still kind of take something from them, right? So you have to be very careful who you choose to take things from, because then it will kind of like, you can continue carrying it. It's not about like, I don't think it's about so much about physical. It's more about how you take that energy into you. So you have to be very careful with whom you touch.
Would it be the mirror neurons in the brain kind of replicating what you're seeing with the other person there?
I don't really know, but he was explaining it in the way that you take a part of their, it's not a destiny, but you take a part of their mission in life, right? And if you're engaging with somebody who is on the destruction path, that can kind of like take you aback in a way a little bit. So that's where you have to be very careful who you surround yourself with or who you engage with. So I think it kind of makes sense, but it's very interesting to talk about it. It could be topic for hours.
Yeah.
But basically my advice to watch that and maybe like think about it for yourself and talk about it with your friends. What do they think about it? It's I don't know, it's just an interesting topic.
So what you're saying there is like to have your own opinion, though, like establish what your opinion actually is, learn from these people, learn from different religions. One thing I often say when it comes to the spiritual pillar is that you can be religious and pursue spirituality, but you don't have to pursue spirituality through religion. If you want to pursue it through Sadhguru or some other kind of method or person or thing, then you can. And just try to find how you resonate with that, manifest with that.
Yeah, 1000%. Like I always identify myself like, oh, labels. I also identify myself with like, I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious, because why would I have, like, it's nice to have organization. Like the other day, I don't know if it's like a weird thing to say, but the other day I was talking to this like Jewish practicing woman, and she told me about like her community and the way she interacts with people and how beautiful it is. And I was like, fuck, I want to be Jewish now. But then I was like, do I completely convert now? How is it going to be? Like, so I guess I'm just prefer to take bits and pieces of everything, but not really, like be fully something. Because once you put a label on yourself, you put this like boundaries and restrictions, and you can't like, and it's a confirmation bias. So if you're like a vegan, or if you're any type of person, or whatever, like whatever you think of yourself as, it's really, once you think of yourself as that, it doesn't matter what other people think. Once you think of yourself as that, it's going to define you, and it's going to put you in the bracket, and you will feel very like subconsciously obliged to work in that way.
Yeah. Well, and one thing
that stereotype
I'll mention is that you do define yourself as a vegan, but when you were explaining it earlier, you went out of your way to make sure you made other people feel like, hey, that's okay if you're not, but like you should probably try it out and experiment with it. And you were trying to be open-minded as you were speaking about it. It's very something that I saw was strong to you. Like you care about veganism very much, but you were very, you didn't let your confirmation bias to stop you. That's what I was trying to say.
Look, I agree. But there's an explanation why I don't care about veganism. It's because like I didn't take it on because of like, wow, I love animals, don't get me wrong, but like I'm like, oh, the animals are being tortured and we're eating them and blah blah blah. In reality, everybody eats everybody. It's okay. Obviously the way we're eating them is not the most nice way to do it, and if
especially
everybody
in the US
like
and whatnot,
if everybody had to like kill animals with their own hands, it would be different. But, and the quantities, this is a different topic. But I'm saying, like, if it's healthy for you, do it. Like, if it were healthy for me and I saw the effects, I would be the worst carnivore you could ever see, like the best or the worst, whatever. Like,
yeah,
depends on the position. But like, I don't really mind whatever you eat, like whatever you do. If it really works, some people go and like take drugs every day and they function really well. Like, and I'm by saying drugs, like I'm saying really hard drugs, and they're fine. Some people look, it just decimals depends. Of percent. Yeah, but whatever works.
And then the final pillar, let's try to be concise with it, because I think emotions could be very drawn out if we aren't careful. The emotions are kind of like the connecting tissue between the other three pillars. So how do you necessarily personally train your emotions? Or understand them? Maybe not train,
meditation. Is the best word. Yeah, meditation, because then you have self-awareness. I guess it's that mostly. Meditation, knowing how to manage myself, teaching other people how to manage myself.
Yeah.
That's another life hack. If you're too lazy, you can just teach other people, like, when I feel sad, go hug me, I'll feel better. And then they manage your emotions for me, for you. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Well, and one thing I think is very important that you kind of you mentioned meditation almost in all four pillars besides the physical one, but I think meditation is actually good for all four. For the body, when you meditate, most methods of meditation control your breathing, which helps control your body's response and habits. And the more you control it, the more likely you're going to be able to control it in a physical demanding situation. If you get in a car accident, your body's going to react to that stress. But if you meditate, you can probably get back into a normal state, calmer state, much more quickly because you train the body. It trains the mind to help with self-discipline, that kind of thing. You know this, but I'm just kind of iterating it for the audience. And then the emotions, like you're saying there, it helps you connect with that, helps with spirituality. It's a real connecting piece between all four pillars. So thank you for exemplifying that.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
If it's the foundation of all these four pillars, why don't you practice it every day?
That's a good question.
That's a good question, because sometimes I don't practice it every day either. I want to, but I don't. What is the reason? And how to solve it? That's a good question.
Well, and I think part of that comes down to my habits and systems, where I'm not working out every day or most of the week like I used to, because the quarantine changed my system. I work at a recreation center, so my workout habit and system came from the fact that I worked there, so I could just go work out after work or before work. Once I stopped working because of the quarantine, obviously that disrupted my system, and that's an excuse. I get that as an excuse, but I had to go around and changing it for the next habit, make sure I have the habit new again. So I think it's just a matter of building that back up. It's a discipline thing. What is something that you've always wanted to tell the world, but you haven't had a chance to do?
I love this question. It's always changes, something that I really want to tell people to do is watch Mel Robbins. That's something that is going to change your life and help you with meditation. Hey, she's amazing. And with her like 5 seconds rule, and I think it was Magical Morning or something routine. I don't remember exactly the name. I think something that I would tell a lot of people to do, I got it. It's to teach yourself to have a abundance mindset.
Interesting. Well,
that's something that is going to change your life 1000%. And once you have it, like, because there's this like yin and yang, right? Like you have the scarcity mindset and your abundance mindset. Whenever you're having a weird emotional thought, or there's a situation and you don't know how to act, ask yourself, am I acting from a scarcity or abundance place? And it's going to like really, really help you in your life. I think this is 1 second. Watch Mel Robbins. She's amazing. 5 seconds rule. Just fucking life-changing, mind-blowing. Like I watched her like everything that was on there. I'd like to, like, again, one of the persons on my bucket list to meet her in person, and she's also a Converse lover. Like, yeah, okay. Yeah. And the third thing I'd say, I'm gonna go for the top 3. So manifestation. So learn everything. Don't learn everything. Watch like a video or two. Like you don't have it's not a science. It's an art. Learn about law of attraction, aka manifestation, with abundance mindset, and with 5 seconds rule, you're destined for just success and outstanding success.
Do you think people should start with Think and Grow Rich? The book.
I think it's a little outdated, honestly.
Okay. What is a modern equivalent then, do you think?
Well, it depends what you want to learn from that Think and Grow Rich. What is the thing that you wanted to
The abundance mindset.
Again, there's not much science into it. It's basically that whenever you make a decision, is it because you feel like there's no other choice, you're cornered, or you feel like it's a hell yes moment, you have a lot of options, but that's the option you're gonna go for because you're freaking like your whole essence is just bubbling inside, and you're like this is it. And I think that's I guess just the freaking tiny rule for it. Like if you feel like, I should settle for this, or it's not good enough but it will do, or like if you're not hell yesing, basically you're acting from scarcity, or you're like, this will do for some time, like blah blah blah. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
You're wasting your life, you're wasting your precious maybe 100 years tops ish,
or unless you're a Chinese man, planet. 200 years.
Yeah, but again, so you don't have that much time, and most of your time is when you're like more or less in the same mind and body. So again, it lowers even less. Just go for the hell yes moments. Go for when your gut is screaming. Gut is so smart. There's like 3 million or billion, I'm not sure exactly the number, of bacteria that decide for you, right? So whenever your gut is screaming, this is it, listen to it, because it's not only your brain, it's their brains too. And they're trying to make you better off, because then they can thrive as well. So of course, just listen to that.
To say
unless
like the
you have a healthy gut.
Yeah.
Which is a different thing.
They say that it's the second brain in the gut. There's actually neuron cells in the stomach. So that's a great call to action, actually. It kind of combined two of the last questions there. So it's perfect. If people want to find you and talk to you, like, hey, this person was super interesting, I would love to talk to talk to Alisa. Where can people talk to you?
I think the best and easiest way to contact me is through my LinkedIn page, because I'm a professional.
Professional at not having social media.
Because like social media really hijacks your brain, and I think LinkedIn is the least one and the most useful. So going with Pareto principle, I chose LinkedIn. So go talk to me on LinkedIn. Say hi. I'm always welcome. I always welcome people who say hi. I like saying hi back. Sometimes waving. So
once again, this is Dustin Miller, PolyInnovator, and this was Alisa Czar on the Polymath Polycast. Thank you for being here.
Bye.